Good evening and welcome everyone to the weekly fpvchat.com live stream of Doom or something. This week I don't have a project. Unfortunately, I've been working with a vendor for what should be a pretty exciting project for microcopters. But unfortunately, some of the parts that we needed didn't quite get through in time for the stream tonight. So we are going to work together to pick the project that we're going to work on and crank on it from there. So that's what's coming up. If you are a first-time visitor, welcome. I'm glad to have you. If you are coming back, it's good that you're here. And if you're a vendor of any kind, I'd be thrilled to have you sponsor one of these live streams and get your product built or featured or whatever. It's a good time and it's a good chance for you to interact with the customers. So there you go. Now, okay, so we've got one of two projects that we can work on here. Both of them are pretty exciting. Both of them will probably get some of their own content through the Boba Fett channel later anyway. You can, so it probably doesn't matter a whole lot, and both of them are going to get a lot more attention than this. So we get to kind of work together. The first is I have this this mini quad. This is my 180. It's a little bit messy right now because I was working on it last night. Let me pop this open real quick. In here, what I've got is a flight controller, power distribution board, current sensor, OSD, and flight controller. I think I said flight controller. All in one, combined into one piece of hardware. So if you'll look, there's no power distribution board in there. There's no extra OSD sitting around. It's all wired straight into that one board. This is pretty cool. It was sent to me by Multi-Rotor Mania to test and to play with and to see how I like it. Because they're interested in potentially putting it on their store as a featured product, but they wanted some people to test it. So they sent me one, and I've been kind of working on it over the last couple days. This is not done yet, and it's not quite flying yet. So there's a couple of steps that I need to do to finish this up. I need to swap an ESC and test. I need to then reflash all of the ESCs, and then I need to configure the OSD and the FPV system. So this is project number 1. So if you're interested in that, hold on to that for a second. All right, this is project number 2. This is a guy I am super, super, super excited about. This is the Uber Design 220 frame. These are carbon fiber rods that I purchased, and there's another set of them across here. These are 3D printed connectors for all of this, and I'm running Sunny Sky 2204s and Rotor Geek 20 amp ESCs. This is an X quad that fits. Here's the top piece. This will be up here, basically holding the FPV camera. This is an X quad that fits 6-inch motors or props. Let me grab a couple of those real quick. These are all the same orientation. But all up is going to weigh something like in the 250, 260 gram range. So super, super light, but it can swing giant 6-inch props and carry it pretty quick. So this is another project that I've got going on, and I've kind of been slowly working on this. But the problem is, these 3D printed parts are made out of a filament called TPA. And TPA is generally regarded as being pretty strong, but also pretty brittle at the same time. So in the sense of like folded steel in a sword, like it's going to be strong up to a point, and then it's just going to shatter. Now, even while I've been just assembling this, I don't know if you'll be able to see this on camera, probably not, but there's already little cracks starting to form. And I haven't glued this or anything, so there's no, I can't judge it yet. But I'm pretty worried about those those 3D printed parts not really lasting very long after I went through all the work of putting this quad together. So I'm working with a vendor, somebody that's actually interested in sponsoring a video that is considering printing it out of nylon, which is one of the stronger materials that you could use. And so I've kind of been waiting for that live stream to happen to work on this. So that being said, I'd be happy to build this anyway for you guys, and then I'll take it apart and do a whole live stream about it with the nylon parts, with the sponsor and all that stuff. So those are the two projects. You can choose the UD220 or working on the Frogger. What do you guys think? And again, remember the UD220 is going to get its own live stream eventually, so we don't need to worry about it too much, because you'll see it again, I guarantee it. This one you probably won't see much about, except some occasional DVR footage or something. While you guys are deciding, what do you think about the quality of the stream? I've got an Ethernet USB connector here finally, so we're not live streaming over Wi-Fi. So I'm hoping the quality will be a little bit better. So yeah, give me some reports on that. Straw poll. Okay, I'll do a straw poll. Straw poll. UD220, MRSS Frogger OSD. Ah, shucks. Oh my gosh, I just canceled it. Okay, I hear that so I've put a straw poll in the chat box. If you didn't see that, go vote on it, and that will be what decides which thing we work on. I am personally going to vote for the Frogger, and I'll give you guys I'll give you guys 2 minutes. In the meantime, let me tell you about just some things that are going on here. I've got the QAV in shambles right now. It there were some video problems that I was having with it, so I took it apart and I'm kind of troubleshooting it one step at a time. I may just gut the entire FPV system and start again, and then test other things individually as they happen. The XBR 220 is still here. This is going. I am still planning on working on this. It's not gone away. The ESC replacements should have been shipped out today to me, so hopefully we'll be able to get that back underway. Remembers that this 220 is not my quad; it's someone else's. They're building it for them, but the UD 220 is exactly the same size, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of just another take on the XBR that I'm pretty excited about playing around with. So there will be a follow-up to the XBR, and it will get built. Don't worry, it's just taking some time. Okay. What else? What else is going on? I'm going to be doing the first giveaway that I've ever done. I'm going to be giving away a fully built, ready to fly, add your own receiver mini quad coming with FPV gear. That's going to be pretty awesome. I can't tell you much more about it yet because I'm not going to say too much until I get all the parts. But be excited about that. There will be a giveaway, and it's going to be a full quad. And there's going to be a whole bunch of videos and live streams built around that, but that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's go over to the straw poll. Looks like, refresh, the multi-rotor superstar Frogger wins out 5-1. So that's what we're going to work on. Goodbye UD220 until a later date. Put that on its hanging spot on the wall. Okay, so Frogger. Let's get these props off because we're going to get in the way so much. Oh, I lost the lock. There it is. Ugh. If you don't have one of these yet, go over to Buddy RC and pick one up. They're the most incredible thing for prop removal. So I put it on, I unlock the nylock, and just give it a flick. Takes the lock nut right off. So you just have to. You change props in seconds. I'm tightening it instead of loosening it. And then when you need to put it back on, slap this guy in here. I just put it right into the thing, lock it on, and then lock. Done. So anyway, that's just a little pro tip for you. If you don't have one of these tools, go get it. They're awesome. Okay, get these puppies off of here. Okay, so when I was doing testing, well, actually, before I even get started, let's take a look at what we've got going on here. This is the RC Timer EZD32 or something like that. If you Google that phrase, you'll see the product. It is a 32 by 32 flight controller, same size as the Naze, uses the same version of Betaflight and CleanFlight as the Naze and all of that stuff. So it's basically that. It's an F1 flight controller, which kind of stinks, but that's okay. We can deal with that. It is a power distribution board, so you can see that all of my motor leads are wired in here. It's supposed to be capable to 80 amps, and it could probably go further than that on a burst. It has an OSD built in, a power distribution board. It regulates down from 6S into I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit tired. it regulates down from 6S, so you can plug a battery straight into it, and it will put out 5 volts for your camera and your OSD and your all that stuff. And it just makes wiring clean, very clean so far. So it's going to be kind of hard to see here. You can see that all of the positive leads are connected in down there, and the ESCs are wired in with this big fat plug here in the back. I've left an extra 5-volt lead coming out of it just in case I wanted it for something. I'm not sure what. Maybe like a what's the word? Transponder for racing. But so I haven't quite decided exactly what I'm going to do with that yet. And so you kind of get to go through the quad design build process here with me. I have this wired up using S-Bus. This is a D4R or X4R-SB receiver that's just Velcroed to the back here. It's got a 600 TVL. These are DYS 1806 motors, little Bs, and I'm going to be using this is a TS5832 VTX that I've got. Not my favorite, but I needed, it was kind of an emergency thing because I'm running low on gear right now. So yeah, let me solder this guy back on, or let me hook this flight controller back on here. Yeah, so this board's got everything, and I've not flown this yet. I've never worked on it before. I was not paid to say anything about it. I was just sent the product and asked to give an honest opinion on how easy it is to work with and how well it performs in the air, and whether or not the OSD is worth it, all that kind of stuff. So, you will hear stream of consciousness, exactly what I'm thinking about this thing as we go. So you don't worry about it. I don't know what I'm saying. Come on. I both love and hate these nylon things. Come on, buddy. Bluegrass Motor says how you I can't link in the chat. Oh, and he sent it to me. Let me drop that link in the thing, and voila. No, I can't chat in my own chat. What the hell? There we go. Double O Asian says he's laughing at give an honest opinion on OSD. Every time he's brought it up, I've said the same thing, which is no SD is the best OSD. And I doubt that position is going to change in working on this, but it's a free flight controller that I wanted to try out and give some feedback on. So take it as you will. All right, so back to the matter at hand. So I worked on this guy last night, and basically what was happening was that as soon as it would hover, it would drop out front right. This motor would shut down, and for whatever reason, it just I couldn't get it to hover because this would shut down. The ESC would bleep and say, "Oh, hey, you're doing it wrong." Let me see if I can recreate that for you guys. Transmitter, battery. Okay, so I'm going to arm it. I'm going to jiggle it around a little bit, and then this motor is going to, or this ESC is going to beep. I don't know if it'll do it without a props. Okay, see how that stopped? That's no longer spinning. As soon as I disarm and rearm, there it is again. I have no idea what that is. So my next task is to try replacing the ESCs to see if that's what's going on. If anybody has any thoughts on what that is, let me know. But I don't know what that is. I'm just checking these motor bearings here. I wonder if this motor is bad too. Why don't we do that first? Let's just swap the motor and see if it still does it. Because that would be nice if it was that simple, wouldn't it? Question is, where is that motor? I know I've got another one around here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, it does. I guess it does seem like it would be the ESC. I'm just gonna swap the motor once real quick to make sure that it's not this, and then we'll switch the ESC after that because that's pretty easy. Double O Asian asks, this isn't the quad you were having the FPV periodic blackout with, was it? No, it's not. That's the QAV. Basically what's happening with the QAV is that occasionally the FPV will black out just in flight. I can't recreate it on the desk. I've pulled the entire FPV system out, jiggled around the connections, because it seems like it's a loose connection. Like it really, really does. But every time I get it back on the bench, there's no problems with it until I get in the air, and then it'll have the issue first 10 seconds in the air, and I have no idea why. So it's just like, really? Come on. So I don't know what's up with that. Hopefully we'll be able to figure it out shortly, because I want to be flying that thing as much as possible right now, gearing up for racing season. So I'm just putting this motor topper back on the new motor. Yeah. Lord of the Pixel asks if it's maybe a voltage problem. I don't think so. That's a good thought, but I really, really don't think that's what the issue is, because the quad flies fine, and there's no issues there. It just, for some reason, after a few seconds, the voltage will occasionally just blip out. So I've got some new FPV gear on the way to test out and at least figure out which component is wrong, and then maybe figure out from there what's wrong with it so that I can prevent it from happening again. That's the plan anyway. I got a brand new soldering tip because my last one broke in half finally, which kind of made me laugh. I'd clean it regularly, so I was a little bit amazed, actually. Alright, potentially bad motor off. Leaky Meat asks, could you possibly swap the servo for that motor with any other on the FC and make sure that it's not the FC shutting out that output? That's a really good idea. We'll try that as part of the process if we don't fix it with this. That's a really good idea, though. Okay, we're going to tin up these motor wires. and solder them right onto the ESC. Easy peasy. Humboldt asks, what flight controller is this? Here's a link. Was late. What quad is that? Is it the QAV 210? No, this is the Frogger. This is my 180. That's what I did vlog 15 with, was entirely this quad. Vlog 15 was one of my favorites so far. Okay, new motor swapped in, ESC connected, grab the transmitter, plug in power, hope not for magic smoke. I think that's going backwards. Nope, it's turning the right way, that's good. That's the other one. That's not the one that was having the problem before. What in the world? It was this one before that was having the problems, right? We didn't just replace the wrong motor. What? This is Beta Flight 2.35. What in the world? I have never seen a problem like this before. Well, let's try clean flight. Possibly signal interference issues from flight controller to ESC. Do you have signal to ground? No, I do not have signal to ground. That was the other thing that I was going to try. So let's do that next. That's a good idea. Oh, this is going to be a pain. Problem is there's no ground. There's no ground connection on the with the normal rail for this. So I'm gonna have to ground on top of these here, which will be a bit of a pain. So we'll have to go we'll have to take, because everything in here is so tight already. We're gonna have to get in and get underneath everything and all that. Humboldt 710 asks, is it running clean flight or beta flight? It's running beta flight. So let's ground some ESCs. I would flash clean flight. All right, let's do clean flight first. Hold on. Okay. So problem. Well, let's just do this. I'm gonna go to desktop mode. Whoa! I'm gonna unplug this camera. I'm grabbing MRailX FPV asks, what quad are you building? This is the multi-rotor Superstore Frogger, but I'm not building it all the way. I'm doing some troubleshooting on some problems that I've been having with it. And my computer is going crazy. Okay. I apologize for the status of my desktop. I basically clean it up once a once a month or so. I just kind of let it get messy and then clean it. So don't judge. Clean flight. Okay. Connect. Okay, so it's connected. So I'm gonna disconnect and firmware flash. Maze, no reboot, full chip, load firmware, flash firmware. Madison Gaines asks, when did you upload your first video? The first video that I uploaded that involved a quad was March 15th of 2015. I actually happen to know the date on that one. Okay, so quad's connected. I'm going to go to we gotta set this all up, don't we? Okay, ports, serial RX. Configuration, quad X, motor stop off, one shot on, RX serial, S bus, current meter, save, cycle time, 1600, save, PID tuning. 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, save, receiver, this one, save, roll, check, yaw, check, throttle, check, roll, pitch, good. Okay, that's all working. Modes. I need the ARM mode, which I put on aux2, which is a ship. Slide this puppy over. Okay, angle here, horizon here, acro mode there, no flight. Okay. Okay, all right, I'm going to disconnect. I'm going to unplug. I'm going to plug this camera back in, which I had unplugged, unfortunately. And my screen disconnected again. OBS, where'd you go? USB cam. Oh, stopped working. Yeah. There's two of me now. Isn't this exciting? There we go. Okay. Got this back. Alright, battery's going in. We are bound. We are armed. Well, it seems like it's beta flight somehow. That's interesting. So clean flight worked where beta flight didn't. I have no idea why. Let's try a hover test, shall we? Oh man. Oh man, oh man. So I've got this all plugged into my. I've got this all plugged in. Well, so I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments here at the same time. First of all, Humboldt710 says, how cool is that cave race going to be? I really hope I can make it up for that. I plan on being there, so if you want to come out, do it. It's going to be awesome. Maralax FPV says, what 210 size quadcopter would you recommend? I definitely recommend the 4mm version of the QAV210. It's my favorite flyer. And then Double Asian says, question is now, was beta flight the issue, or is it just a bad flash of beta flight? Maybe. We'll try that again. We'll try flashing it again here in a second. The guides that I all read about this were that this board was actually in part built for beta flight, so it should support it because the creator uses it that way. So, hopefully, I mean, it should work. Sam asks, is it Mr. Alex? Oh, that makes sense. Sam asks, is it non-calibrated ESCs? The ESCs had been calibrated before this wasn't working. That was one thing that I did try. G2H20 says, I had an Illuminati 32 and it didn't like Betaflight either. Had all sorts of weird issues. So maybe there's a problem with Betaflight in this board. I don't know, that would kind of suck, but we'll see. So let's put some props on here and give it a shot. These are Dal V2 tri-blade. They're pretty much my favorite props right now for 4-inch. I'm not a huge fan of 4-inch, but I want to be. So it's kind of like this funny catch-22 where it's like I have this and this ends up being like my freaking favorite quad to fly because it's usually been my most consistent flyer. Just I don't know why. I think it just can take a beating better because it's nice and small and light. But you know what? I'm not going to complain. But if anything, this combination of motors and props is pretty kick butt on 180 size quads. So I do recommend at least using the Dal V3 or V2 tri-blades on it. I'm hoping that they come out with the race edition for the 4-inch as well, because that would be kick butt. I think I was talking to somebody about that earlier today. Mr. Alex asks, what do you like better, a 180 or a 210? I definitely like 210s better, but 180s are growing on me as I've gotten one flying very well. Not that it hadn't been flying well before, but now this thing really does rip pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to fly this inside here in the office. I don't recommend doing this at home. I am only doing it because I can't take this laptop downstairs right now because we are on Ethernet and it just is not going to go well. So my safety tip for you is to have a blanket ready to drown your quad in if it takes off and goes haywire. So I have that here. If it starts to just go crazy, that's our safety measure. But yeah, so again, I really don't recommend doing this, and I'm only doing it because we've got the stream going. and we can't go out. So I'm gonna go over here. Oh. Well, it's doing better than it was yesterday. Okay, nothing got too warm, so that's fine. They are a bit on the warm side, unfortunately. These the tune was a little bit off, and these tri-blades are probably a little bit overprop for these motors, so they tend to run a little bit warm. So I'm kind of trying to consider what to do about that, actually, because I don't think I can continue to push these motors so hard with these props. I did not break the antenna, but that was what that was. All right, so let's reflash Betaflight and see if that will fix up this issue. Desktop. Whee! Got clean flight back. Pulling out this guy. Plugging in the quad. I'm not plugging a battery in while I'm doing this, so I can flash without. Well, okay, no, I'm gonna take off my props. I hate flashing without taking off props. Just give me a second here. I'm not gonna show you the quad because it's I had to unplug the USB camera. I am not gonna do. I'm gonna do Betaflight 2.35. Okay, props are off. Plugging into clean flight. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, this is like way overscaled. No wonder. I felt super zoomed in for some reason. And that's why. Clean flight. Okay. Plugging in. Okay. Disconnect. Firmware flasher. Choose a local firmware. Okay, I have. Oh no, I don't have it. We gotta go get it. Betaflight. $2.35 for the Naze. downloads, save, replace, clean flight, connect, no, disconnect, firmware flasher, choose local firmware, maze, full chip erase, standard baud rate, flash, there it goes. Need a little like elevator music or something, Paul. Connect. Alright. Ports. Serial RX. Save and reboot. Configuration. Done this so many times. RX serial. S bus. Current meter. Save and reboot. Failsafe. PID tuning. 0.7. 0.7. Let's do that. 0.7. Save. Receiver. This one. Save. Modes. ARM. aux2. Angle. aux1. Horizon, there, error mode, there, save, and I'm going to leave the rest alone for now. Okay, take this off, plug the USB camera back in. That's going to get really obnoxious if we have to keep doing that. Whoa, we're falling! Come on. Now this dang camera isn't showing up. There we go. Bam. Okay. Sorry about that. RC Addict asks, what's going on right now? Okay, so, just to catch everybody up. Multi-rotor Superstore Frogger, brand new flight controller. With beta flight, it seems like whenever I jiggle it a little bit, one of any of these motors will just stop working randomly. I don't know what's going on. It's very, very weird. So, we are trying different things to see if we can figure out why it's not working. Okay. Well, bad flash of beta flight. That's apparently a thing. That's good to know. Oh man, quads are funny things, man. Let me tell you. Well, I definitely hope that was the problem because that would be sweet. But it's very, very strange. Preston says, check the main connection piece. What is the main connection piece? And I did double check all of the connections on the first motor that was having the problem. But then as soon as I basically swapped a motor as a testing thing, and the next motor had the same problem. So I was like, wait, what? So I swap one motor and a different one goes wrong. Like, no, that's not what it is. So it doesn't seem like it's a connection thing because I have checked all of the connections and I have had it with 2 random things and different softwares have seemed to help. So I don't know. It must have been a bad flash somehow. I didn't realize that that was a possibility. But anyone have any thoughts as to why that might not happen? Avery asks, what frame is that? This is the multi-rotor Superstore Frogger. One of my favorite 180s. I like it a lot. It's a bit on the heavy side, but that's okay. All right, let's try this puppy again. Got my emergency blanket. Don't fly your quads indoors at home. All right. Well, I'm going to call that flying. You should switch to run Betaflight. It is the bee's knees. Betaflight is just miles better than CreamFlight right now, even though there are occasional little weirdness like that. But not to worry. It's flown awesomely for me on every other quad, every build. It's great. Okay, so next we're going to wire up the FPV system. That's what's next on the bucket list for this quad. Oh, I've got to grab my power cable for my laptop. 1 second. RC Flight, do you actually run race flight? I don't have any capable boards right now. Preston Steffens asks, what motors do you use? These are DYS 1806 2300 kV motors. I wish they were 2700 kV motors, but these were just ones that I had lying around that I needed to use for something. So when these die, that's when I'll get my 2700 1806 motors from Ready-Made RC. What is the best flight controller? Probably the KISS FC. I've never flown it, but I mean, I've heard nothing but good things. But I like any F3 board currently. I'm really excited about my Lumineer Lux, which I have not gotten yet. Okay. So, I gotta figure out exactly what I'm doing here. So again, this is an experimental board that I've never used before, so I'm still kind of learning about it. So you'll have to bear with me. This flight camera has gotten a little bit loose. That's better. Okay, so I believe, and I need to double check, and I will here in a second, that these here are the FPV and OSD pins. So all I should have to do is run a wire from camera to here, and then from here to VTX. I gotta double check on that, but I believe that's all that needs to be done for this guy. So I'm just pulling up documentation here for myself. Let's see. Oh, I can't see it on this monitor. Here, I'll let you look at documentation with me. Super exciting in the life of a multi-rotor enthusiast. Okay, how do I zoom in? So right here on the bottom corner, we've got video in on the left, power, ground, video out, power, ground. And that's going to be filtered. And I'm not sure if it steps down, but both my things are 3S, 4S capable, so it shouldn't matter. So that's neat. Oh, that was cool. USB cam. All right. So I'll get this a little bit closer here now that we're actually going to be doing some work on it. Okay. First of all, we'll grab our camera wire. Actually, I want to keep that one intact and see if I got another one here. No. Well, that's literally the same thing. Okay, all right. Well, let's just use this one. Okay, so we've got our FPV camera. I'm going to plug this guy in right away. Okay, nice and solid connection. I'm going to take this off so I can get underneath it. Oh, oh. Where'd that go? There it is. Now, I'm just going to lift this up so I can get underneath it and just run this wire straight through to the back. And I'm just going to put one of these back on to hold it down. Okay. Now, we're going to be soldering to there, so I'll give myself a little bit of slack, not too much. So like there-ish, something like that. Snip, snip. Okay, I'm just spreading these wires out. Fingers are not dexterous enough for this, apparently. Okay, and then I just got to strip off a little bit of the protective coating. If anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to ask while we're just fiddling here. Some of this is a little bit boring. Mexican Gaming asks, what are you doing this for? What do you mean exactly by that? I guess I got enough exposed there. RCA, can you post your question again for me? Okay. I'm going to tin up these wires here. Okay. And I'm going to tin up these pads on the flight controller. What RC transmitter would you recommend? The FreeSky Tyrannus, no doubt about it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do the VTX cables first before I plug in the camera ones, because the VTX ones go closer to the back, and then I can go over the top with the VTX ones. So that'll make life a little bit easier on me, I think. Okay, so we've got these three. I just put rewrite or rewritten for my PIDs, and now no matter how much I crank up my pitch or roll rates, it won't flip any faster. And so you're changing the expo on the PID tab in the very top right of the configurator, right? That's what you're talking about? You from a little shaky today. Okay, I gotta double check on which one was power's the middle one. Okay, that's not a surprise, but double check. Mexican Gaming asks, have you ever made something wrong? Yes, way too many times. Unless you mean just plain wrong, then no, never. But yeah, I've screwed this up a lot. I think there's been magic smoke on at least one episode of this live stream. Okay. So VTX is wired up. This is the 5-volt out from the VTX, and so I wanted to leave it in because it might be useful for me later on a different build. This is also a 5-volt out that I didn't want to take off, so I got to figure out how to manage this wire. Can someone answer his question about the board? I can't remember the name again already because I'm stupid. The Maze 32 is a fine board. I will probably always have a quad running it. It's simple and supported and cheap, and those are all things that I like. Mrs. 00 Asian, you need to let him buy more drone stuff. It makes him happy, and it makes him joyful. And when he is satisfied by working on his drones and spending time, just clearing his mind, staying focused, and kind of pouring some creativity and design and thoughtfulness into building something, then he in turn will be a more passionate lover and friend and be able to support you in everything that you do as well. So you should let him buy some more drone stuff. She gone yet? I give the same speech to my wife on a regular basis, so. We might have to like get that clip out of this whole stream. Congratulations. Okay. Camera wired up. Shit. Sorry, my phone is blowing up. I'm going to mute this guy. Mute. Done. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So now, before I actually plug a battery into this, well, when I plug a battery into this, I want to make sure that I don't have any surprises, like reverse polarity or something like that. So I'm going to plug in the battery. I'm going to use a multimeter to check to make sure that all of the voltages are correct. Hype PV says that awkward moment when you are cooking in the other room and you hear Boba Fett talking about passionate lovers or something. Yeah, I had to convince 00 Asian's wife that he should buy more quad stuff. So I figured, I can help a brother out that way, right? All right, I'm plugging in my multimeter. Checking this one. I'm expecting around 12 volts. Okay, that's close enough because this is this battery we've been flying this battery around tonight. But polarity was correct, so that's what's important. Yeah. These are always a pain. And 12 volts. We have FPV. Okay, so FPV system is wired up. I'm going to connect the camera. Let's see if this is pain. I've got large hands, and so my sausages of fingers cannot get in here and plug this stupid piece of crap in. Oh, I should probably pull out the battery first, huh? Alright. It's warm in here. I might turn that fan up. Okay. Alright. FPV camera's connected. I'm going to connect my transmitter now. Put this antenna on it. Okay. Connect this guy here. Good to go. Grab my base station from down here. Ground station, rather. Here, I'll point the webcam so you can see the screen here with me. Oh, this is complicated. This is the most complicated part right here. Figuring out how to aim this. Okay. You can kind of see it, right? Okay. Let's see. RC Flight asks, no, Jay Anderson asks, what frame is that? This is the multi-rotor Superstore Frogger. And I need to go grab another 3-cell battery. I'll be right back. Bear with me. All right, we're back. I need 2 batteries for my ground station the way I have it configured right now, and so it just kind of is tricky sometimes. Okay, so receiver's on, screen's on. You can kind of see the screen. It's probably pretty small. And now we just have to power this thing, hopefully. I'm always nervous with FPV. Voila. We have a wired FPV system. Oh, look at that. So I don't know if you can see that at all. Let me switch to this one. But the OSD is actually slightly working. I'm consuming a lot of milliamps just sitting around the table, apparently. It has right here, and we can change this here eventually, but right there it's got how long it's been on. It's got milliamps consumed, so right now we're already at 100 milliamps, which is a lot. It says we're in acro mode, which isn't true. Let me turn on my transmitter here. We've got 9.5 amps being used, which that seems pretty high for just sitting here on the desk. Jay Anderson asks, why not pay the $10 more and get the Armatin F1-4B? That is the I would prefer that frame. But this one was sent to me as a thing to test. But it also says 0.0 volts, which means that something is not right with the current monitoring, but that's okay. Let's see. Okay, transmitter is now connected. We're not bound though, apparently. Okay. And I'm gonna arm. Okay, the OSD doesn't seem to notice that the battery is plugged in, which I think means we actually need to change some dip switches on this thing. Let's see. Pinman FPV says Boltafed is using an OSD. Yes, I am using an OSD. I've been asked to test this part because the store is considering selling it as a thing. So this is a flight controller that has an OSD and a power distribution board and all of the fun stuff. So yes, it does. I am putting an OSD on this. It's not like my first choice. It's not like the thing that I'm super excited about, but I'm going to try it and it's going to be fun. So that's that. Then somebody asks, that run MWOSD, multi-wii OSD? Yes, it does. And then Double O Asian says if you have a current monitor on that, it's super nice because once you have it calibrated, you can calculate exact milliamp hours used. Yes, and that is the one thing that made me want to do this. Made me want to do this, and that's because it comes all in one, and so hopefully it performs well. Let's see. So we need to double check the documentation and figure out what dip switch order we need to have to turn on OSD mode or fly mode. And B. So up, up, down, 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 down. So what I need to do, where's my, got a knife here, this is my way of doing this. I need to move all 4 of these switches up to this position, and then these 2 switches down. So what this thing allows me to do is control what the USB port has access to. So if I need to flash the MWOSD, I just have to change the dip switches in the right order and it'll connect to the OSD, or change the dip switches to connect to the flight controller, or to connect the flight controller to the OSD. And that's the same with any all-in-one solution like this. So let me go back over. And I'm going to power this guy up again. Everything's still connected, right? Yes. Okay. So now, OSD should come up here in a second. It's thinking, it says stuff, nothing very exciting. It says no data and disarmed still. So I'm going to grab my transmitter here and arm. Doesn't seem to notice. All right, so we're missing something. Back to the documentation. And this is now getting very cramped in here. All right, I'm going to share my screen again here so that we can just look at documentation together, because that is the cool thing to do these days. Actually, Okay, so this is the documentation for the board. I got to figure out if there's some kind of connection that I need to make between the OSD and the flight controller, other than the dip switches that I just didn't know about. Let's see, here's my board, blah, 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 dip switches. The 6-pin dip switch is used to change the USB connection between the flight controller and the OSD, or connect the flight controller and the OSD during flight. It appears that documentation is wrong for flight mode. I need to switch the left 2 pins and the right 4 pins on the OSD to display. C fly mode. And this is how I had to set the dip switches to get the OSD to display in flight mode. Okay, that's not what I have here, so let's try that first. Switching. Okay, so where did OBS go? USB cam. Alright, so this needs to go down, this needs to go down, and this needs to go up, and this needs to go up. Okay, now, with any luck, the OSD will work now. Okay, still got my antenna plugged in. Here goes that. Fitting. Okay. OSD is still showing, but I don't know what it's showing yet. It's thinking, thinking, thinking. And no armed, disarmed. Still is drawing the same amount, which doesn't make me think it's working still. I'll switch over to just me so that you can see this. Okay, I'm going to arm. Oh, hey, it picked it up. It knows that it's armed. It's seeing it. It's showing fly time. It showed me how long I was flying until I disarmed. And then when I rearm, it is continuing the counter. So it shows me how long I've been flying right there. The milliamps look wrong. The amps being consumed look wrong. Because even if I turn it off, it's still counting up pretty fast. And the voltage is not there at all. So we got some things that we need to configure, but that's looking pretty good so far. Alright, I'm going to get some of this stuff out of the way here. Okay, let's see, USB. Okay, Aiden Sinclair asks, he's building, or somebody, no, I'm sorry. Aiden Sinclair asks what he's doing. I am setting up this flight controller here, which has an OSD, power distribution board, flight controller, all that fun stuff built into one. And so I'm trying to configure it here. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go back into clean flight and make sure that we have all of the right settings turned on. Because I'm not sure which ones I did and didn't turn on. So I just want to double check. Okay, first I have to put this thing back into flight controller mode, which allows me to connect, which is putting down these switches. I know you can't see the USB, bear with me. Okay. All right. Nope. Let's see. Jay Anderson asks, what motors and props? These are 1806 DYS 2300 motors, and props are Dow 4045 tri-blades. So let's go back over here. Scrolling through documentation. Scrolling through more. IMU interrupt pin. Don't need to do that. Still scrolling. Sorry, this is really boring. I'm sorry. Come on. Firmware setup. Okay, let's flash beta flight. Blah blah blah. Put it in flight controller mode. Do that. Flash beta flight. I know how to do all that. That's all done. If you get the message that you can use the bootloader, which we don't need to do. Receiver modes. You should now see total capacity drawn and instantaneous current draw, which I think we do see. Oop, wrong one. Sorry. Clean flight. Setup. We have no battery voltage, but we do have capacity drawn and current draw, which is good. Configuration. Why do we not see the battery voltage? Skipping that stuff for now. I'll come back to it if I need to. If not, have a plug-in mill 12 pin because your V2X can handle the full battery voltage I'm using 2S. I'm safe, plus my V2X can handle up to 18 volts or so. Check out the awesome text overlay in your video shown on the phone in the photo. Then hook up the flight controller, your receiver, and ESCs, and then go fly. Okay. So, why does Clean Flight not even recognize my battery voltage? Wait, I don't have a battery plugged in, dipshit. Fuck me. There we go. Okay, so we do get battery voltage. But the OSD was not getting it. Current draw is working, but the flight or the OSD was getting more than is being reported here. You should now see the total capacity drawn in instantaneous current. Which we do see. Capacity drawn, current draw. Yes, we see that. That's fine. No battery voltage because there's no battery. Current draw is that. Don't try enabling telemetry. I think you mean do try enabling. Save. Okay. All right, let's disconnect. Oh, this is a mess. Let's see. I'm just going to use. I need to bring home like a USB hub or something, so that you guys can. So I don't have to keep plugging in and unplugging all of my stuff. Okay, there you go. We'll just do it that way for now. Yeah, I'm going to try running the sketch for this after this real quick, but I'm just going to try this again first real quick. Okay, I'm going to switch back to flight mode, which is pushing up this and this, so that all the switches are up, and then plug in power. Okay. So you should be able to see that now. Okay, still 0 volts, and still disarmed, and it's still consuming about the same amount of milliamps. So that's still not quite right. So yeah, we'll have to hit up the sketch for the OSD and see if we can figure it out from there. Let's see. Sam Butov asks, is there a VBAT pin out? The VBAT is, because this is an all-in-one flight controller, the VBAT is part of the flight controller. So I plug the LiPo goes straight into the flight controller, and all of the current flow goes through the flight controller into the VBAT there. So it's kind of like, it's outside of the, there's no specific pin for it. It's all running through the flight controller anyway. Okay, let's see. Arduino. And, okay, we need this. I don't want a pre-release. Release. Okay. Frick. Where'd my documentation go? Sorry, I realize this isn't the most exciting live stream ever, but hey, we're all learning, right? All right, where'd that go? Okay. Download source for the release page of the Scarab OSD. Download source. Save to downloads. This. Open the MWOSD folder in the extracted Scarab source, and from that folder, open MWOSD.ino. Okay, let's see. MWOSD, and open MWOSD.ino. Okay. Okay. Okay, switch to the config.h tab and scroll through the file, or use the find function to change the following settings. Lines that start with // are commented out or turned off, and lines with /define are turned on. For example, to change the flight controller software from multi-lead to clean flight, change this section to define clean flight. All right, so command F, multi-lead. Okay, try that. Multi-lead. Define data flight. Oh wait, we need the config.h. Derp. Let's see. Uncommented this if you are using Betaflight. Okay, go here. I don't see a Betaflight. Betaflight. So I think I need a newer release then. So data flight. So this looks like the right one. The regular 1.5 did not have beta flight in it, it looks like. Can you recommend a good podcast to listen to? Look up Drone Rental Supply on YouTube, and they have a whole series of podcasts that they've been doing about racing and going to race events. I have been on that podcast, so this is kind of a shameless plug, but I enjoy listening. I even listen to the episodes that I'm not in. It's a lot of fun. They haven't done a ton of episodes yet, but it's underway, and so there will only continue to be more and more. There we go. Okay, I see beta flight now. All right. So we're going to comment out clean flight, comment in beta flight. It starts like this, blah, blah, blah. It should be changed to this. Set the MSP speed setting to high to make the artificial horizon update faster. I'm not going to use the artificial horizon, so I'm going to ignore that. Define FC voltage config. Additionally, uncomment this if you want to use the VBAT voltage, which I do. So FC voltage. So we're going to uncomment that. Okay, unplug the FC if it is plugged in. Set the dip switches to OSD mode, which I haven't done yet. So I'm just changing dip switches here on the flight controller. Nothing too exciting. Okay. Now, switch the dip switches, which I did. Plug in the flight controller using USB. Done. Okay. If you have an OZE version 1 or 1.01, plug in the battery to the OZE. The minimum OSD is not powered via USB. On version 1.02 and beyond, oh gosh, I have no idea which version I have. I guess we could just plug in the battery to be safe, essentially. As hilarious as that sounds. Okay. Then we're going to set the board to Arduino. Let's see. File, no, sketch, tools, board. Arduino and Arduino Pro Mini. Arduino Pro Mini. Oh, fuck. 5 volt, 16, sure. 18 mega, 328, 5 volt. Okay, that's what I chose, I believe. Tools, board, Arduino Pro Mini, 5 volt, 18 mega, 328. Yep, okay. Pick the serial you're using. Tools, serial port. I think it's this one. You can ignore the programmer setting unless you're an ISP programmer to install the new blah blah blah. Click the arrow to upload the new firmware. Arrow turns orange when it starts. Upload. Please work. Already in use. Tools. Port. This one. Upload. I'm going to close clean flight. That might have been getting in the way. And I'm going to connect it again. Yep, this is a pain. I'd rather just be out flying. I'm just saying. Uploading again. Yes, there it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Come on, baby. Come on. Thinking, thinking, thinking. Done uploading. Okay. Let's assume that worked. All right. In the tools, open. Oh, where'd these go? Downloads, I believe. Probably at the bottom here. Nope. Scarab. OSD. This is the one. GUI. Open the configuration tool. It is in a folder in your platform in the MWOSD GUI folder in the zip you downloaded. OSX. GUI. Cancel. Damaged? No. Open. What? Well, let's move over to a Windows computer here. Ugh. I don't know what to do with this. All right, I'm just gonna stand up and walk across the room here and leave you guys here for a second. Except, you know what I just realized? I stole the Ethernet from my desktop to do the stream here, so I've got, oh my gosh. So I'm now hooking up my desktop via wireless because the laptop has the Ethernet port. All right. You notice my shirt? My wife made this for me. It was a Christmas present. I love it. It's super cool. A couple people have asked if they can buy it, but I don't have any others. And she has to make, it takes a while to make them. Yeah. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Do you have any questions? RC asks, do you go to any Flight Fest events? I have not yet. It's actually pretty close to me, so I'm considering going this year. course, we would have computer problems right now. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to carry this over here very carefully and see if we can continue having our talk here without too much trouble. Just got to not unplug this thing, because that would suck for the whole stream. Alright, we made it. Alright. You should go down to Flight Fest West in 2017 and maybe we could fly together. Where's Flight Fest West? Somewhere in the West, I assume. Chrome, /history, RC timer. Okay, plugging in the Wi-Fi. The Verscopter is only good for slower FPV. It is not good for drone racing or 3D. That's not really FPV though. If it ain't going fast, it's not worth it. Just kidding. Oh my goodness. I've got a virtual machine on here. Maybe this will work. It should come to Texas? No, nobody should have to go to Texas. Okay, Windows, let's go. Okay, I'm having the most trouble. I have a theory about Texas. All bad drivers are born there and shipped to other parts of the world. Really? Guess I don't know. I mean, if you've never driven in snow before, you've never really driven. But I don't know if that makes them the worst drivers in the world. Chris Weaver had an Alien 5-inch arrive today. Congratulations, my man. I've never flown one, but I assume they're fun. Hype has to be real, right? My goodness, this is frustrating. Slow-mo FPV. Do you even get real snow, Paul? I grew up in Minneapolis, so I did then. Double O Asian. OSD issues have spanned 2 computers, 1 router, and 2 Ethernet cables. Georgia FPV asks, where do you live now? I currently live in Indianapolis, Indiana. Oh my goodness. What is your favorite recording camera? I use a Xiaomi Yi. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favorite, but it's the one that I have, and it's good. It's great. It's cheap, and that's what I like. So. Alright, we're going in here. Let's see. CD downloads. Scarab. Change the GUI. Application.Mac. Open mwgui.app. Okay, can't do that. LSAL. Shown 777 and .app. sudo do it. Sudo open MW. Really? Oh my god. Open that. Okay. Let's see. Java version 1.8. Same one as him. Doing the source code directly. It's very easy, like Arduino. Open the source code and click the play button. Git, change the downloads, git clone this guy. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this because it's tanking everything. World's worst live stream. Sorry guys, this is so boring. I wish that it's too bad that the sponsored video that was supposed to be today kind of fell through. I'm sure it'll come up. I'm sure we'll get it taken care of next week. But you know, just it's too bad. Hive PV asks, so where's the part when we get to fly? Well, that part never happens because we're fighting around with an OSD. I mean, it will fly right now. It just is totally messed up and in the way and obnoxious. All right, open scarab mw/mwosd/application GUI/application.mac mw app. He's running it on 10.10.5. This is 10.10.5. Slash ALH. I just want to do it. Show package contents Mac. How do I put the... How do I put the executable in that last flag? I can't ever remember how the chown command works. Chown x slash chown make executable. chmod plus. Oh wait, was I typing chown on that? Okay. Chmod MWOSD 755 sudo chmod. Yes, LCL. There we go. Okay, now open // MWOSD.app. Come on, baby. I see you want. Yes! Oh man, that sucked. All right, so for those of you not following along at home, this basically what happened was that the permissions on one of the files deep inside of the structure of the actual application was not executable. Found a guide that said make it executable to do this, which I did, and so now we're here. All right, now what do we do? We haven't gotten this far yet, guys. It's so exciting. Okay, Chrome / history. Wish I was still on my desk so that I wasn't hunching over my laptop like this. Okay. Scroll down here. Let's see. Open the GUI. All right, click the name of your COM port and the left connect. If you don't see the COM port, unplug the flight controller, plug it back in, and restart the configuration tool. Okay. Over here. COM. This one. Boom. We are freaking connected. Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. You should see the preview window on the right. Populate and configure your settings. You'll probably want to turn on voltage and amperage settings like so. Okay, what does like so mean? Oh, snap. Like so. Amperage, display milliamps, yes. Display amps, yes. Use virtual sensor, yes. Use FC amperage? No, I don't know. Let's see, what does he do? He uses FC amperage, okay? Turn that off. Go away. Good, okay. I like to update the font. Under the font selection, select a font. Once download the zip, other, blah, blah, blah. Once you click the font, hit upload and save to the minimum OSD. It'll take a upload. Oh, wait, what? Stop. Select. Default. I'm going to go default bold. Sure. Okay. Alright, let's just let that figure. Basically, I want to take all values from the flight controller. The adjust values don't matter. They won't be used. Download the config file and click load. Pick the place you save and then click write. Or this. Okay. Okay, he says use FC main voltage. Okay, don't use the adjusts. Use FC amperage, display RSSI. What happened? I'm going to reconnect here. Close COM. Connect. Reading. Okay. Display amps, display milliamps, use flight controller amperage, use FC main voltage, display video voltage. No, I don't know what that means. Ignore those things. I want RSSI. I want to use RS flight controller, RSSI. I'm going to ignore those things. Enable. Skip all that. Display throttle position. Ooh, yeah, sure. Display battery status. I don't know what that means. Display flight mode. Sure. FM sensors. No. Gimbal. No. Vario. No. Baro. No. Timer. Yes. Horizon bar. No. Display GPS. No. Coordinates. No. Compass. No. Heading. No. Okay. Cool. Right. Okay. I'm going to close. I'm going to connect. I'm going to read. It should keep all of those same settings, which it seems to have done. All right. Whew! Okay, so we have configured our OSD, hopefully. So I'm going to disconnect from the computer. I'm going to switch my dip switches back to fly mode. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to plug a battery back in. Actually, no, I'm going to turn my screen on first. Okay. And we are going to power up the OSD. Bum, bum, bum. Boom, boom. Okay, look at that. We've got our new version, which is good. Flight controller stuff is normal. We still have frickin' horizon lines, but our amp consumption is lower, and our voltage is now right-ish, and it shows that we're on. So now I'm going to power up my transmitter. It does say we have 0 RSSI, but that makes sense because we're not connected. It says we're in stabilized mode. Oop. Okay. Ah. It's not very well balanced here. Okay, so we armed. Our milliamp consumption went up. It's consuming. RSSI is still not working. Throttle percentage is working. Fly time is working. Milliamp consumption's good. Voltage is working. Low volts is flashing, so it must think we're on a 4-cell. Okay, we switched into acro mode. It's also showing that we're in air mode, which is cool. Cool. So we got a couple things not working, but that's progress. Powering down. Okay, I'm going to switch my dip switches back over, my dip shits. Welcome from the West Coast. Good to have you here. RSSI has to be mapped to a channel and fed back to the radio. It's a whole process. Okay, that doesn't sound like something I'm going to do. Let's be honest. Okay, why was the artificial horizon still showing? I want to turn off that low voltage alarm. That was annoying. Okay, we got RSSI off. Okay. Save. No. Right. Restart. Read. Okay. It says that the OSD should be off, so I'm gonna unplug this again. Change my dip switches again. And this, kids, is why no SD is the best OSD. Okay, we're losing viewers like crazy. Alright. Let us see no horizon lines. No horizon lines, look at that. I don't know what changed. Powering on the transmitter. Yeah, it really doesn't like the low voltage. Let me go grab a 4-cell and see if it says low volts there too. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm plugging in a 4-cell. Hopefully this flight controller can handle it. So far, so good. Alright, 16.6 volts. Disarmed. It's not flashing anymore, which is nice. Armed, doesn't care. Cool. That seems to be working. Just peachy. Okay. Let's see. Where's my camera USB? USB cam. Okay, cool. We got it. So let's mount this stuff up and call it a night. Actually, one thing that I want to do is put a little bit of hot glue on the camera lens here because it's been turning on me and causing it to unfocus. So I'm going to focus it real quick, put a dab of hot glue on it, and get that going so that I don't have any more problems with it. So grab the hot glue gun, which is right here. Okay. Plugging that guy in so I can tune the camera. Alright, so I'm just looking at those things over at the wall and trying to make them as sharp as possible. It's looking pretty good. When hanging inverted, do you want a little throttle or completely cut the throttle? With air mode, with motors stop off, so the motors continue to spin whenever the quad is on, you can cut the throttle all the way, and it will continue to hold orientation. That's what air mode is doing, is it's upping the PIDs a little bit to maintain stability even when you're doing intense acrobatic maneuvers with low throttle. It basically tries to change the PIDs to match low throttle input. Let's see. Master RC student asks, where can you buy a t-shirt like the one you're wearing? So you want Are you asking about a t-shirt with this exact design on it, or are you asking for the style of shirt? All right. I'm just putting a dab of hot glue on the camera to help keep it from twisting. Do you need Betaflight to run air mode? Yes, is the answer to that question. This particular shirt was made for me by my beautiful wife, and there is only one like it. So there is not currently a place to buy this shirt. But if enough people are interested in it, I would definitely consider finding a way to drop ship some shirts or something like that. Can you still use one shot on Betaflight? Absolutely. What's up? Okay. Do you want to say hi? No.
Hi.
This is the camera here. This is my wife, Rachel. She made this fantastic shirt, which we were actually just talking about. You are. Okay, I'll be done shortly. Okay. Still running 2.1 millimeter lens? Yes. Please don't end this live stream. I don't want to go fiddle with CleanFlight right now. Hey, me neither. That's why I would end the live stream. So it's either you or me. They say hello, Rachel. She says hi back and walks away, saying my husband is hanging out with these strangers on the internet instead of spending time with me. Life. Oh no, I'm an idiot. Is it easy to switch from CleanFlight to Betaflight? Very easy. It's probably easier than ever having used CleanFlight in the first place, in my opinion. Should I run 2.1 millimeter lens or 2.8? I highly recommend switching to 2.1. I'm going to be doing an entire video about why you should switch to 2.1. I just am currently still, I'm waiting on some parts to come before I do that video. But everybody likes their own thing, so I mean, Not everybody is going to like flying with a 2.1, but I definitely am on the side of 2.1. Is Betaflight an app to download on my computer, or what is it exactly? Betaflight is a firmware, and a firmware is a set of software that runs on a microprocessor. That microprocessor is what runs is the brains of your flight controller. You download Betaflight and use the CleanFlight configurator to install the firmware on your flight controller. If that didn't confuse you, I don't know what will. Hello from Milwaukee. I'm sorry you live in Wisconsin. Just kidding. Yeah, I hope that helped. Sometimes it's nice to just have all of the terms kind of spread out in one place at the same time. When I flash the firmware, do I need a full chip erase? No, probably not, but it's recommended. You going to be on FPV chat tomorrow? Yes, I'm on FPV chat pretty much every day. If I'm not, it's either because I am super busy with work or something, but pretty much every day you'll find me on there. Good flying this weekend in the Midwest. Yeah, I am so excited for this weekend. It's supposed to be in the 60s here. And it's been warm for the last couple of days, so all of the snow is melting, and so it's going to be dry by then too. I got this EMR built, but I have some questions about NAS receiver, S-Bus. Okay, I can answer those questions for you. I think I'll know the answers. Are those 1806s? Yes, 1806 is the perfect size for 180s. The 2204 is just stupid for 180 size quads. I need to go to bed. Good night. It was good talking to you. I'm glad you were able to come out for a bit. How much are those motors you're running? I think you can get these for $9 right now. So, dirt cheap is the answer to your question. But I'm pretty sure you can get these for about $9. Yeah, it's 10:45 for me right here, so I'm probably gonna go watch an episode of The Flash and then go to bed. I need one more dab of hot glue on this sucker. Suck up. But look how clean that is. Like, that flight controller in there. Actually, let me show you this side. It's even better. I mean, there is so much room left over for anything that we want. It's crazy. Where can I get those motors in black? I believe that you can get them on Surveil Zone and highpv.com, which are the same thing, just it's like a rebrand of the site, basically. Avery Caudill, I think Mini Quad Bros sells them too, but I think they're a little bit more expensive there. Do the Turnigy batteries, blue, actually perform well enough for acro? No, I just have this battery on my desk for testing things. The nanotech batteries will work. That Turnigy battery will not fly on the quad. Where's the heat shrink for the ESC living on the edge? All of these are heat shrinked except for this one. I leave the heat shrink. I do anything more. I might just use some electrical tape, but yeah. I'm just adding some hot glue to some parts that I've had problems with, like spinning, like the camera mount here likes to kind of spin eventually. So I just add a little bit of hot glue to kind of help it stay in place. It's not the most attractive thing in the world, but it works super well. This battery here is 30 to 40 C, and that's total BS because the moment I give it any throttle, it starts beeping at me, which means that it just does not have enough power to keep up. Does your Xiaomi Yi stop recording on impact like the Turnigy Action Cam does? I don't know anything about the Turnigy Action Cam, but my Yi does often cancel on a large impact. All right. That there is a working, ready to fly mini quad. I'll be testing this out. I'm hoping to get some flights in tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll be all day Saturday. I'll be flying it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up here. Do you guys have any quick questions before I go? Otherwise, I am out. Hopefully next week we'll be doing a micro quad live stream. I know I said that last week, but we had some problems getting those parts shipped in time. So hopefully that will happen next week. Then the following week is going to be announced soon, and it's going to be a good one. So mark your calendars for 2 weeks from today, whatever day that is, I don't even know. And that's going to be a fun time. So be ready. In the meantime, thanks everybody for stopping by. It's been a blast. Once again, if you're new to the stream, welcome. I'm so glad you were able to make it. If you're a returning guest, I'm glad you guys came back and didn't find it too boring the last time. A lot of people stuck by or stuck with, so I'm glad about that because it was kind of a mishmash episode. But you know, that's what it is. And finally, on and again, if you're a vendor or interested in sponsoring a product, or if you're an individual and you want to send me your quad to be built on the live stream or something fun like that, let me know. I always want to talk about stuff like that. And but yeah, in the meantime, thank you very much for coming by. I appreciate your patronage. All right. Thanks again. Have a good night.